Welcome back to Fashion Voices, a show where we talk to industry insiders about a new topic each week. This week we are talking about the unstoppable ascent of vintage and pre-owned clothing.
I was talking to Chloe Sevigny, and she's kept every outfit from every date that she's ever been on.
Wow.
And I kind of, I
I
know.
think Deadheads could be the next one coming back, where everyone's going back to tie-dye.
I have two fantastic guests talking to me. I have TV presenter Danny LOMAS.
Hello.
And the wonderful stylist GARNETT.
Hi, Raven.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. I like your hat, Danny. I like your hat. It's great.
Thank you very much. It's Nigel Cairborn. Tried it on thinking it'd look a bit ridiculous, and now it's become a bit of a staple.
I want to hear about each of your personal relationships with vintage and pre-owned fashion. Bae, do you want to take the floor?
I mean, for me, secondhand has been like a massive part of my life, and it kind of changed my life. My sisters were both very academic, and they did really well at school. And for me, going to second-hand shops was my thing. I started at Portobello Market and charity shops. And then I moved to New York in 95 to work in an office, and I became obsessed. Because New York, in the mid-90s, I can't even tell you, Salvation Army, you'd find amazing stuff. I found Velvet Underground original t-shirt, I found Saint Laurent, I found punk. And so that's when I became obsessed.
Danny, tell me about your love of vintage and how it started.
I'm from like a little countryside farming town. Our thrifting scene isn't brilliant, but through PAQ, we went thrifting. I think the first one was at Bexhill. It kind of opened my eyes a little bit to actually finding designer gems or finding something that wasn't just dungarees, military, Americana. You actually did have regular stuff and actual grills where it was just hand-me-downs. That's kind of how I fell in love with vintage, because that's when I finally saw what everyone else sees.
The richness of it.
Indeed, yeah.
Bae, do you have a favourite era to thrift from?
Kind of late 70s, early 80s, where you'd get that punky t-shirt, you'd get those, I never was into the labels so much. But having said that, I found Amazing Cossack coat by Saint Laurent in Salvation Army in the Queens.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Danny, do you have any favourite eras?
I love the 60s, the original mods. My mum was a revival mod. But thrifting-wise, obviously now that's 60 years old, I don't want to spend the money on actual authentic 60s items because I'm not a full-blown collector. So for me, if I was going to go thrifting, the easiest one to buy would just be 90s. It's the perfect balance between price point and conditions. I think 90s would be the best one for me.
It's funny that you say that about loving the 90s. You were born in the 90s, because oftentimes people love the decade. They kind of hark back to the decade that they were born in. I was born in the 70s. I love the 70s.
It's like supporting your home team. It's like, I am a 90s baby, therefore I've got to love the 90s.
I wanted to ask you about your favourite vintage items. Bae, did you bring something with you?
So I found this in New York. Look at the label. It's proper punk. Warrior. Can you see that? And that's the top.
Yeah.
So it's like a punky zip. Can you see that? It's original. It's got zips on the shoulders. It's really cool. And this I found in the British Red Cross. So very cheap, and it's probably worth a lot. It's the original Safari by Saint Laurent. Yeah, look, can you see? Look. Even with the pants really don't fit me. Oh, and then I love this. This is just classic. Again, another label that excites me. Look, Casually Yours. Can you see that? Brilliant. From the 1960s, and it's classic. Beautiful kind of leopard in velvet. I mean, those are a few of my favorite things. I could do this all day.
How do you store stuff, and what's naughty about the way that you store it?
So I have a lot in my loft in plastic boxes. I go back to my stuff. I want stuff that I wear. As I say, I don't really want to be a collector. But I wish I'd kept a lot. I was talking to Chloe Sevigny a couple of weeks ago, who's got amazing style, and she's kept every outfit from every date that she's ever been on.
Wow.
And I know, amazing. And when I hear that, I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, oh God, not that I've been on that many dates, but just that kind of order in terms of clothes being that kind of seminal. And
Such a diary.
Yeah.
Danny, favourite pieces. What have you bought for show and tell?
I do actually have a few parkas. So this is desert night camouflage. I bought this just because it was interesting. It wasn't rare or anything like that. But essentially, it's got string there, and there. So it's got your fishtail.
Yeah.
But the reason they have this is what you do is when you've got it fully zipped up, you tie it around your legs. So when you're out and about in the desert or whatever, it wouldn't flap everywhere while you're running in that.
It's like a baby grow.
It is.
That's really handy. I was hoping that because it's camouflage, you'd put it on and completely disappear.
Should get a green screen one.
Yeah.
This jacket was thrifted. This is Dries. It's Dries Van Noten. We got this from New York, I'm pretty sure. So it is obviously an actual, like, blazer. It is a normal suit.
Oh, wow.
But I just really like how it's got the button here. It looks like a lapel pin if you wear it normally, but then I've always enjoyed having it up.
It's good.
So
It looks cool.
I wanted to ask you about vintage shopping tips. What's your advice to someone who's vintage shopping?
my main tip would be know the demographic of the location of where you are.
That's really
So
important.
if you're going to go for very high-end brands, you want to shop in like very rich places, I guess. If you want to go and find like excellent workwear, you want to go for places that have got maybe a lot of factories nearby.
For me, I say this to myself, like, do I really want it?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, but it's a brilliant idea. It's so good. It's so good. And it's like, okay, is it really, 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 really good?
I really do get that as well, because it's, do I want it or do I want it because it's there in front of me and I know that I might never be able to get it again?
So I wanted to talk about brands that are currently using vintage in their design. So we've got people like Emily Bodie and we have Marine Sir, who are using kind of vintage stock to create contemporary designs. What are your thoughts on this kind of like new take on vintage?
I think it's great. I think it's brilliant that people are kind of being imaginative and inventive and doing that. One, I've written it down because I can never pronounce it, but Arc'teryx, the anorak people did brilliant. Did you see the collaboration they did? It was so good. I really wanted one. It's basically like really high-tech waterproof jacket. And they'd got together 6 different anoraks and stitched them together. So you had like a blue arm and then red, but it was done really well. And I thought that was really clever. Another woman that I know called the Anne Devie London, and she gets homemade scarves and she makes bags. And then Western Affair, who sell on Farfetch, who do the brilliant shoes made out of rugs and kind of great, very stylish shoes with men's ties and shirts.
Nicole McLaughlin, she's fantastic on Instagram. So she'll just make really, wacky stuff and just upcycle really mundane things into other stuff or turn one thing into another. And I think that's what excites me. Like, runway stuff is brilliant because it is still, it'll always be there. But for actual stuff that I find interesting every day, like on Instagram and that, I do like seeing some stuff upcycled.
I wanted to ask you how important the pre-loved industry is for fashion's sustainability.
It's absolutely huge, as we all know. I've just actually done a charity shop, an Oxfam pop-up shop in Selfridges next to Gucci and Miu Miu and Prada. And I made it look like a luxury store. And the reason why I tell you that is because it did so well. I love how empowering it is now. From having always been a style choice, I feel that now people want it. People want to make those choices to wear secondhand clothes in a way that's, call it sustainable.
Sustainability is the new punk. And I think like thrifting and vintage is really a complete 180 while still complementing everyone's fashion taste. Like, you don't need to fully change your style. You can incorporate it. And I think everyone's becoming a lot more aware now.
So what are the next big trends in vintage fashion? What eras should we be expecting to see around the corner?
I think deadheads could be the next one coming back, where everyone's going back to tie-dye and that. Because obviously it kind of trickles down, and at the moment it's definitely going through the American market, and I think it'll soon get down to the mainstream where everyone goes back to tie-dye again.
Okay, I'll just throw my shirts out. I'll just tie-dye everything I own.
There you go, yeah.
Ready.
I don't think it'll go to the mainstream, but I'll always have to back my own corner. I would love it if everyone got back into boating blazers and silk scarves. I think scarves are easy to do. I've even got mine next to me for when I go out.
Show us.
But,
Show us how you do it.
There's 3 ways. So I either give it that. That's the easiest one. If it's cold or windy, you'd lock it through.
Classic. Yeah.
And then the kind of mod one, or what I'd usually just kind of do if I've got it underneath a shirt, to have it like that. So it's so
Scarf 3
easy.
ways.
Exactly. 3 ways in 3 seconds.
Are there like dealers and accounts on collectors that are kind of we should all be watching?
There's a brilliant guy, Mr. Archive, Mister, and he has literally the best old t-shirts, but not your average rock t-shirt. Like we're talking like, mate, and I write and I'm like, like that. And he's like, sold. I mean, I can't afford it anyway, but I love Found and Vision. I mean, Relic's always good, some of the real classics, you know, who have stores, I guess. Ellen Ludlow, I follow her. She's got great 70s stuff and Saint Laurent.
Mr. Mort's brilliant. Mordecai,
Oh, yeah.
he's, I don't know if he still does it, but that's Some Men Get Dressed. So he's just fascinating as a person. So yeah, Mr. Mort's definitely one to follow.
I want to just go back to one question before we wrap up, which is who are your ultimate vintage icons that you come back to time and time again?
Anita Pallenberg, she was with Keith Richards and Brian Jones, and she kind of, it was that whole thing of like the borrowing your boyfriend's jacket, blazer, you know, and then with Keith Richards, I guess. And I actually, ultimately, it would have to be Chloe Sevigny, but Debbie Harry. You know, you can't not look at a picture of Debbie Harry from, let's say, 78 and just go, oh, because she just looked incredible.
Danny?
Serge Gainsbourg is just he's the effortlessly cool chic. So I think obviously Serge and Gin looked fantastic. Mick Jagger obviously had a cracking style.
With Richards and Mick Jagger and Anita and all those guys, why they're so stylish is that they did dress themselves. Do you know what I mean? It was so far away from like this notion of red carpet or being styled. It was about dirt and unwashed, or, you know, it was about a kind of such a raw form of stylishness that's so kind of alluring because it's so authentic.
I would say about Anita and Jagger and etc. It's like their clothes for living in rather than having a picture taken in.
Exactly.
On that note, I'm going to bid you both farewell. Thank you so much.
I feel fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Speak to you later.
Bye.
Take care.
Hit subscribe below for more episodes of Fashion Voices, only on Farfetch.